Straight out of classrooms taught in NYC, pre-K through college, part of his or better, her story. Cover to cover, girl, you just been school while sipping tea up in the teacher's lounge and dropping a jewel. Take out my ed while tattletelling on me. Teacher bull or teacher's bull moments will set your mind free. Unplug a teacher while you give her some love. Sit back, relax, and watch an educated teacher unplugged. Giving you all the information you need. Inside track won't set you back to show you how to succeed. A show unplugging everything. Education highlights the very best of early childhood to graduation. Teacher Unplugged is ready to get real with a show dedicated to all the heroes in this field. Teacher Unplugged, Teacher Unplugged, Teacher Unplugged, no doubt about it. Teacher Unplugged, Teacher Unplugged, Teacher Unplugged, let's talk about it. Hey Teacher Unpluggers, on today's show, we're tattling on our future's best and brightest young scientist. While Governor Hochul gets back to basics, call her Presto Phonics. Hate to say we told you so, but yeah, we told you so. A decorated veteran schools a school board on banning books. Teachable or teachers' bull moments. We unlock the school to prison correlation and how teachers are trying their hardest to change that narrative. The agency of dysregulated post-COVID students. Wait, did I just say agency? I've been indoctrinated into the vocabulary word bank. Yuck! And now, your host of A Teacher Unplugged, Miss Shanna Zelda Montgomery. Hey there, Teacher Unpluggers. Welcome to another episode of the Teachers Unplugged, or should I say formerly known as the Teachers Unplugged. And it's now called A Teacher Unplugged because it's just me, myself, and I. Kyla is taking some time off. She's focusing on her career right now. So I'm going to pick up the slack and I'm going to rock out on my own for right now. Hopefully she'll be back, but she is going to send us some segments and she is going to do sometimes tattletelling in the news, tech out education. So Kyla's not totally out of the picture, but Happy New Year. Happy 2024, Unpluggers. Oh my goodness, so much is going on. So let's get started with tattletailing in the news. Now, Deja Taylor, she's a 19-year-old inventor who created stitches capable of detecting infections. And she did this when she was only 17 years old. Now, she developed the idea for her sutures as part of a science fair project. Now, her invention won top prizes at both state and national levels. Deja is now in the process of patenting her invention, and rightfully so, which involves color-changing sutures that indicate the presence of an infection. Now, the affordability and accessibility of her invention makes it an equitable alternative to electronic smart sutures, and it has the potential to transform healthcare in underserved communities, ultimately saving countless lives. Talking about young and gifted. Oh my goodness. He-Man Bekeles, he's a 14-year-old middle schooler from Virginia, and he has been crowned America's top young scientist. Now, this young man has developed a bar of soap that has the potential in the treatment of melanoma, which is a type of skin cancer. Now, the soap contains compounds that can reactivate specific cells which are responsible for protecting human skin, thereby enabling them to fight off cancer. We are in great hands, guys. I'm telling you, the next generation, Generation Z or whatever, the generation that comes after Z, I think we are in great hands. These students are remarkable, and I am so proud of them. Governor Hochul proposed a framework to revamp New York State's reading curriculum with a focus on phonics. Now, this follows a similar initiative introduced by officials in New York City to reform literacy education in the city elementary school districts. Now, Governor Hochul's proposal is based on research showing that phonics instruction is essential for early literacy and that kids who do not learn phonics early on are more likely to struggle with reading in the future. You guys are absolutely hilarious. Really? Really? Do you think this information is new to the educational field, to teachers, to early elementary school teachers? We are insulted, to say the least. Now, the whole language was a movement of people who believed children and teachers needed to be freed from phonics instruction. Now, phonics lessons were seen as rote, old-fashioned, and conservative. Conservative. I could do this all day long. I mean, just the irony of it all. You guys allowed publishing companies to come in and revamp a curriculum that was working for many a moons and come up with this whole language movement when we know how complex the English language is.
Get down, check it out. B-O-M-B, bomb. T-O-M-B, Tom, no, tomb. If T-O-M-B is tomb, that's boom, the bomb's over. But no, that's bomb, that's tomb. Get ready. Is this calm or coom? No, that's comb. And that's why spelling bees are only won by introverted little ugly girls. Because they're the only ones that got enough time to memorize this. C-O-M-B, comb. P-O-M-B, poem. No, poem is P-O with an E with an M. Now, P-O-E-M, poem. H-O-E-M, home. No, home is H-O with an M with an E. H-O-M-E, home. S-O-M-E, some. No, that's some. S-O-M-E, some. N-O-M-E, numb. No, that's N-U-M-B. The whole doggone thing is dumb.
Teachers already know this. Everything that's old becomes new again. Everything that they take out of school and tell us that's wrong and students don't learn that way, they wait until a massive failure comes about and then, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And then they pretend that this is some new concept that is exploding around the country. Like this hasn't been done years before and was successful, and they found a way to say that it was a problem. And now when they bring it back around, suddenly they're acting like it is the latest trend. It is the latest idea. And everyone should jump aboard, climb aboard, because this is going to change the whole way we think about learning.
Stop pronouncing the T when you speak English. Don't say identify, say identify.
Omeo, poeo, I, o al, do, I, a, u.
A lot of reasons why kids are weak in foundational skills is because they don't know their letter sounds. They don't know, these are early phonic skills, phonemic awareness skills. They don't know their letters. They don't know the letter sounds. They don't sing the ABC song. You will be surprised at how many students come into school not even knowing how to sing the ABC song, which was basic for everyone growing up. But things like this are not solely the parents' fault. We have a system that tells you these things no longer work. Little components that we used to do with our children and we did when we were younger doesn't make any sense anymore. It doesn't help. It doesn't help our kids learn in school. It doesn't help them. So we push these ideologies on our parents to make them feel like everything that has been done back in the days, all the songs that they sang back in the days when they were playing outside or on Sesame Street, Schoolhouse Rock, and all of these other educational channels, that all of that is conservative. It's old school. It's antiquated way of thinking and learning. Some genius decided, oh, you know what? That's not working. I want to come up with a new phrase like the word agency. Like, give me a break, agency. You all need to just knock it off. Every time you try to come up with a new word, a new way that you assume children are starting to learn, instead of learning children, learn what's happening with children throughout the generations and decades. Learn the differences and what's going on with children, how children are playing, how children are perceiving the world. So what's going on in the world around us? Learning how to read hasn't changed. We know that kids need phonics and phonemic awareness. We know that rote always worked. That's how we learned our times tables. That's how we learned our word families. That's how we learned addition and subtraction.
When students need to memorize small pieces of information, the teacher can use the rote learning method. In rote learning, the teacher says the information and the students repeat it over and over again. This repetition helps students to memorize the information. Then they will be able to recall the information quickly to use it in later lessons.
You guys are not saying anything new. Also in tattletaling in the news, they've just enacted a law to give girls free menstrual products because, again, they feel that girls are not coming to school because they're ashamed and embarrassed that they don't have the products necessary to take them through the day, and they don't want to have accidents, or they don't want to feel less than because they're unable to afford it. Really? Really? Are you guys serious? I mean, what country are we living in? Are we living in the Stone Ages, under a rock somewhere? Teachers have been telling you guys this again for ages. Instead of when we were younger, they had the boxes, the metal boxes put up with feminine products in them, and they were 10 cents or 25 cents or 50 cents or whatever it was. And back then, for some parents, it was a struggle, to buy those products, but we found a way. They started ripping those boxes down and getting rid of that stuff in schools, along with sex education. What were you guys trying to hide? Are you guys trying to hide something? Really, we all know what this is. And it seems like there have been this cloud of shame put on women when they have their menstrual cycles. Like, what are we afraid of? What's going on here? It's so asinine. It's just so backward thinking for women, for young girls in school, no questions asked. What do you mean no questions asked? Really? What questions would be asked? Young girls are using these products for, if they have a nosebleed, a tampon in their nose to stop the nosebleed. I know there's creative ways that people are using, these types of products now, but I don't think women are asking for these products to stick to the ceiling or to wear as a mask for COVID. You guys get the squirrel's eye to the highest degree. A dispute over a student apparently prompted teachers at Emerson Elementary School in Compton to call in sick. And this is in support of their principal, who actually quit because of an incident that took place between two students. Apparently, one student brought a BB gun to school and put it to the head of another student, and I believe both students were suspended, but one student came back to school. The one that actually had the BB gun, he came back to school with his mother the next day, and the mother berated the principal, went off on her, had some choice words, I'm sure, for her, that her son was going to stay in school. And apparently the powers that be allowed him to stay in school and, I guess, not receive the punishment that he was supposed to. And the principal quit. Teachers and principals are there to support the students and make decisions based on a code of conduct for the district. And I'm sure in the code of conduct, there was something, especially in the climate that we live in, to not carry in any type of weapons, whether it's a toy or whether it's, of course, real. you are taught not to carry any types of weapons in school, and there are repercussions and consequences for doing so. And the parent did not like the consequences, which was a suspension that her child received. So she came into the school and went off on the principal, which is unacceptable. And if parents feel that they can do better and they can enforce rules and regulations or not adhere to specific rules and regulations, then have at it, parents. And the teachers showed in solidarity of the principal's decision. Now, on another note, a naval officer makes an amazing case about banned books. Let's take a look.
Spent the last decade of my naval career fighting religious fascism abroad. Never thought I'd have to fight it right here in the United States of America. I grew up in rural South Carolina, and books got me out of the trailer park. My parents trusted those educators and the librarians to let me read what I needed to read. I spent 21 years in the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program, where Admiral Hyman Rickover said a questioning attitude was the key to success in the nuclear power program. I want my son exposed to different ideas and different viewpoints so that he can learn to think critically and not be force-fed somebody else's opinion. We've all been exposed to different opinions. Makes us better, makes us stronger. Adversity has made me stronger. I didn't sacrifice 21 years of my life to stand idly by while religious fanatics and other fanatics try to impose fascism on my country. I urge you to think about what a book ban needs and use transparency. I don't need anyone else telling my son what he can and cannot read. I'm very perfectly capable of determining that for myself. Thanks for your time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your service, sir. And thank you for your words. I commend you for speaking out. Now, if more parents spoke out about banning books, I think politicians would definitely think twice about trying to take away our freedom of choice and freedom of information. And if someone is allowed to tell you what you can and cannot read, guess what? They have more control over your life than you would care to imagine. Teaching our children to always seek the truth and information that enriches your understanding of life. I think we should always encourage change, and especially the change that ignites emotions in all of us. Everything should be a teachable moment. The good, the bad, the ugly. No matter what you read, it should be a teachable moment. And we should teach our children to speak out against censorship and to stand up for what's right. We have the right to read and form our own opinions. No one should take that away from us. We teach our students to believe in the power of knowledge and its ability to shape the world, to move on in this world. You know, that's why educate yourself and your children on the importance of literature and how it can definitely help shape a better future. And speaking of shaping a better future, let's get into teachable or teachers' bull moments. Now, there's a thought in comparison to prison versus school, and it's called Let's Find the Difference. Let's take a look. Now, we all know the school to prison pipeline is a well-known issue, and it's been around for quite a spell. Some argue that the education system is designed to make it easier to transition students from school to prison. So they do things that enable or provoke students and kids to become part of the system. However, what truly matters, like they said, is not what you're called, but what you answer to, or what you respond to. Some teachers are changing that narrative. We're investing a lot of our money into our classrooms to make it aesthetically pleasing and inviting for students and for parents when they come to visit. Our hallways are adorned with children's work, artwork, inspirational quotes, leaders in science, you know, leaders in civil rights. You need to look at some of the classrooms, you know, they're welcoming and they're visually appealing. And have you seen some of these classrooms lately? They look like living rooms, although I told you that I'm against bringing your personal furniture to school, but I do like the way some teachers set up their classrooms. You know, they try to make it a home type environment. They try to make it a comfortable, safe space for the students. And these classrooms are quite impressive, if you ask me. Now, of course, there's no doubt that the system has been set up to transition kids into a more orderly environment. However, the primary purpose of the prison system is not to cultivate, motivate, or even regulate student behavior or just regulate kids in general. It is intended to punish and, of course, instill fear to deter crime. Whether we see similarities or whether they're obvious or a little bit ambiguous, without guidance, a child can easily be tempted to go down a path where they will acquire this unwanted hands-on experience in order to compare both, which is what we're trying to avoid as educators. Now, according to an article on edutopia.com, kids' behaviors are bigger, more intense, and more disruptive than ever before. By Letty Valario. She's a former teacher and a school administrator, and she says what she has seen is a lot of desperation amongst teachers. And what I'm going to add to that is parents, because I think parents are seeing the same thing. And she says that teachers are exhausted. These children were born into a situation which is the opposite of what they need for optimal learning. For optimal learning, children need an environment where there's plenty of challenge. But it has to be low stress. Unfortunately, they're surrounded by high stress and high challenge. And then the kids went back to school and the standards were the same. The expectations were the same, but unfortunately, their skills were not the same. I think there's like this new buzzword. I've been reading up on some things, and there's this new buzzword buzzing around, and it's called dysregulated post-COVID generation. Emotional dysregulation is when a child experiences difficulty with registering their emotions, responding with emotions appropriate to context, and regulating emotional responses in social situations, or suppressing emotions, or presenting with overly dramatic answers or emotions. And some of that we can thank social media for, because there's an element of drama within social media. I'm more than positive that parents are having the same issues with their kids at home, and they're trying to regulate their emotions themselves, but they're also at a loss and at a standstill. Dysregulated children need regulated adults, and if an adult is also suffering from dysregulation, they're also going to need some steps to help them regulate their emotions, especially post-COVID. So there's a video that I saw. It's called the Butterfly Hug for students who are suffering from anxiety. Now, I know that's for anxiety and it's the butterfly, and I'm definitely going to try that when I get back to school with my students. But if you're experiencing, parents and teachers alike, if you're experiencing dysregulated students, here are some tips that's going to help you deal with that.
Successful people have strong self-regulation skills. They use them every day. The skills help them consciously direct, sustain, and shift their attention when necessary. They help them monitor and manage their thoughts, behavior, and emotions in this complicated world of ours. 3 of the self-regulation skills, known as executive function skills, are cognitive. These are used to monitor and manage attention, thoughts, and behavior. A 4th self-regulation skill is the ability to monitor and manage emotions. These skills are not inborn, but they are teachable, and we depend on them every day, especially when the going gets rough. Just like adults, when students are upset or angry, it's hard for them to use their executive function skills because their strong emotions take over. This can also make it difficult for them to listen, remember rules, and stay focused on learning. So, learning to monitor and manage emotions allows students to recognize their strong feelings and use strategies to calm down. Then, they can use their executive function skills again. And research shows students with strong self-regulation skills have higher academic achievement and are less likely to act in impulsive or aggressive ways, or to withdraw when overwhelmed. They're also more likely to get along well with others and have strong social skills. Students with poor self-regulation skills can have emotional and behavioral problems and academic trouble, and are more likely to be expelled from school, starting as early as preschool. When students learn and practice self-regulation skills, they can build academic achievement, social competence, and positive growth throughout their lives.
Compartmentalize their feelings in order to become their optimal and best selves when they are in school, because the process doesn't happen when they're in school. This process happens at home. So we need to do a home school collaboration. I love this celebrity edition of You've Been Schooled. Now, one of my favorite children's stories is called Hair Love. And it's a story written by Matthew A. Cherry. And it's about a little girl's hair struggles. And there's a little cute little video to it too that I've shown on the Teachers Unplugged before. Now, but did you guys know that the audio version, which of course can be found on YouTube, like everything else, was narrated by Beyonce and Jay-Z's daughter, Blue Ivy? Yes, yes, yes. So not only does this little girl dance her behind off, she's also a narrator. She's a Grammy Award winner, I believe, and she's a consultant to her parents because she always tells them to fall back, or you're doing a little bit too much with her hand gestures, or giving Beyonce advice on, no, you shouldn't cover that song. You know, but she actually narrated this book and she did such a wonderful job.
Dreamscape presents Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry, narrated by Blue Ivy Carter. My name is Zuri, and I have hair that has a mind of its own. It kinks, coils, and curls every which way. Daddy tells me it's beautiful. That makes me proud. I love that my hair lets me be me.
I just think she's so talented, and I know a lot of you are like, now let's check out education. Oh, I'm checking out education as well. Okay, there's a new science program that brings objects to life in 3D with a cube. Let's take a look.
Here is a quick view of how the Merge Cube works. The apps use your device's camera to communicate with the Merge Cube. Just point the camera at the cube until the digital object appears. Then interact with the object by tapping your device's screen. That's all you need to do. The Merge Cube creates the illusion that you are actually holding the object, not just seeing it. Your brain automatically makes the connection that it is inspecting something. It's already in learning mode, and it makes students accountable for their learning, since they're holding it in their hand. This is why it's so engaging and so effective for all learners. The Merge Cube gives students the ability to hold and interact with virtual objects, which provides students with a deeper connection to the concepts they're learning.
Okay, Teacher Unpluggers, we've come to the end of our show. A 2024 New Year show, a Teacher Unplugged. I thank you so much for continuing to join me as I go down this labor of love on my own for a little while. I hope you will continue to join me, and I hope I can continue to inspire you and give you great stories about a field that I respect and love so much, the educational field. Hope to see you guys next month, and make this year count. Make this year your best year ever. Bye. Straight out of classrooms taught in NYC, pre-K through college, part of his or better.